Fahrenheit 451 tells the tale of Guy Montag, a fireman from the future, but in this future, firemen don't put out fires, they cause them. Literally, firemen. Guy lives in a world where books have been outlawed because they cause people to have differing opinions. His job as a fireman is to burn down any house that harbors books. He doesn't think much of it because, like everyone else around him, he's deprived of independent thought. He lives in his very dull life with his very boring wife, Mildred, in his strange alternate world where things keep being described as both alive and dead. All of this changes, however, when he meets his new teenage neighbor, Clarice, who opened his mind to nature as well as the madness around him. He starts to see his actions very differently and begins to ask himself questions like, why are we burning all of these books? One event in particular caused Guy to have an epiphany, which was when he got called to burn a house with books, but when the owner was asked to leave the house, she basically said, heck no, I'd rather go down with my books. And she did. Now Guy is convinced that he isn't getting the whole story with these books, so he is stealing a few from the site and started stashing them in the AC ducts in his home, which is a crime, and crime is bad. Days go by, and Guy finds out that Clarice has died in some sort of a car crash because for some reason everybody speeds like crazy in this world. He's very sad, which is strange for people in this world, and looks for comfort in his stolen book stash, which made him miss work. His fire chief, Betty, becomes suspicious of his absence and assumes it has to do something with his books. Betty tells Montag that all firemen get this sense of curiosity for books at a point, and tells Montag that he has 24 hours to read them to check for anything meaningful before they have to destroy them. Montag goes on a reading frenzy, but he had trouble comprehending the new medium. He even tried to get his wife in on the reading, but that didn't work, as Mildred was not one for thought or anything involving effort. So he recalled that he once met an old English professor named Faber. Faber informs Montag that to truly understand the literature, he has to attain the freedom required to act upon its ideas. So Montag and Faber team up to slowly revert society to what it was back before the ban of books. They plan to secretly create and plant books in the homes of firemen to create dislike of the profession, so books can return to popularity. Near the end of their meeting, Faber gives Montag an earpiece that lets them talk to each other at any time. Montag returns home as his wife's guests arrive to watch some TV. Our newly enlightened Montag cannot stand these mindless women and attempts to share his new knowledge through a poem, which is a really bad idea. Faber keeps yelling through the earpiece, Montag, what are you doing? Stop. But Montag is too far in to stop. After his rant, Mildred tried to cover it up as a thing firemen do, but her dumb friends went, too late, already filed a complaint. Guy might be in some trouble. After his 24 hours had passed, Montag went to the fire station to burn the books, where he is greeted by Betty, who keeps throwing different book quotes at him, confusing Montag. It all makes sense soon once the alarm at the station goes off, and when Montag arrives at the scene, he is surprised to see his own home and Mildred driving away with her belongings. Betty forces Guy to burn down his own house, and once he's done, he would be put under arrest. As he was burning his home, something snapped in his head, and he turns the flamethrower on Betty, killing him. Then, a mechanical hound that the firemen used during their calls, which was set to target Montag, bites his leg and fills him with numbing anesthetics. Montag manages to destroy the dog and makes a run for Faber's house. Faber tells him of a retired printer from St. Louis and tells Guy to go and find him. He also informs Guy that a second mech hound has been sent and is tracking him by scent. Guy takes a bunch of Faber's old clothes to mask his scent and goes on his way. Guy remains undetected and escapes the city. As he walked along an old rail track, he runs into some bums that ended up being very intellectual, rogue book people, just like Guy. Their leader, Granger, takes him in and informs him of their plan to rebuild society after it crumbled after a war that was declared not long ago. The story ends with bomber planes dropping bombs on the city and Montag and his group walking back to the city to find survivors and create society anew. And that was Fahrenheit 451. Thank you for watching.